Okay, so thank you very much for joining us on this Go Games webinar, this Go Games information session. So understanding the Go Games policy, the Gaelic Games Go Games policy. So by way of introduction, my name is Vinny Whelan, and I am Head of Growth and Participation with the Ladies Gaelic Football Association. I'm joined by my colleague Clodagh Flanagan. So Clodagh, if you want to do your intro there.
Yeah, thanks, Vinny. I'm Clodagh Flanagan, as Vinny said. I'm National Development Officer. My remit is growth and participation. So I work closely alongside Vinny, and Go Games falls under our remit. So delighted to be on tonight, Vinny.
So anybody who engages with Go Games will be receiving a barrage of emails from either myself or Clodagh. So we're not going to apologise for it, but we're the two people who you would go to if you have any queries about the Go Games policy. Um, so thank you for taking the time to join us on this webinar as part of the 2025 webinar series. Hugely important webinar. Go Games are the biggest games program in all of Gaelic games, encompassing under sevens to under 12. So just huge playing numbers throughout the Go Games program. So we hope to give everybody who is tuning in an understanding of the program, to understand the underpinning principles of the program, why Go Games, how Go Games and what are Go Games. So we really want to give everybody a flavour as to what's on offer in terms of the educational pieces, the logistics of Go Games as well, and the application processes, and really give an understanding of really every aspect of the Go Games program. So we'll get going. So in the chat function, so we did say tonight was going to be slightly interactive. So what words would you use to describe Go Games? Just so we can gauge what type of understanding there is out there, what people's interpretation of Go Games are. Some people, their last interaction with Gaelic games was a 15-a-side championship final when they were in their 20s, 30s, or even 40s. And Go Games is a long way from that, and it's a different model. But we want to try and gain an understanding of what people's interpretation or viewpoint is on Go Games. So what words do you use to describe Go Games? Claude is just going to monitor the chat. So Claude, maybe as they come in there, you'll just talk us through some of the answers coming in.
Thanks, Vinny, and a couple of answers coming through already. So thanks everyone for your interactions. We've got flexible, fun, everyone gets a go. Um, so really important and a great start, Vinny, on our end. The understanding is quite good. Um, we have here again, everyone gets a go. Participation. Thanks very much, everyone. Yeah, participation coming in again.
Yeah.
Fun coming again, which is really important for us, Vinny. So off to a great start.
Yeah, and I think that's important to see that there's a fantastic level of understanding out there, obviously just from the answers that are rolling in the chat there, and we see the same common themes, Claude, are running throughout those answers: the participation, the fun. Not once did we hear winning in there. Not once did we hear, 15 on 15 championship final. That's, the kids who are playing Go Games are not many adults, they're children. And play should be their number one way of learning. And it is a developmental program. And fun should be their vehicle for learning. So absolutely brilliant to see that, and brilliant to see the level of understanding and interpretation of the actual program itself. So you see there just some key words, I suppose, that we use to describe Go Games. Fun and enjoyment, playing time for all, inclusive, non-competitive, age appropriate, F2 stage of the player pathway, which we'll speak about a little bit later on, under 7 to under 12 inclusive, referee and coordinator education, player development, so it's social, higher satisfaction levels, again, that came through all the studies that were carried out around the original incarnation of Go Games, and there's a number of studies that are ongoing around that as well. Increased skill execution, so again, that's something that came through the small-sided games model, that there was going to be more executions of the skill leads to greater development of the skill. Adapt equipment and pitch size, so again, as we said, they're not mini adults, they're kids, so we need to adapt things to suit their needs. Gaelic Games family policy. So it's not just the LGFA, it's a joint policy across all three associations, the Camogie Association and the GAA also. So we all worked quite closely in terms of the development of the new policy. An under 12 county league and league finals permitted, but no knockout rounds. We'll speak a little bit that in a bit more detail later on because that does need to be framed and given um, a bit more time for discussion also. So just a little quick video that we use in terms of our launch and it might give you a flavor as to what Go Games actually feels like on the pitch. I'm hoping that the sound is going to work. If the sound doesn't work, we'll just plow on. You might give me a thumbs up if your sound is working or a thumbs down if it's not.
Some Gaelic games where every child gets to play. 12 children lead the way. And with pitches and equipment
Apologies. I don't know why that's stopped.
modified to
There
meet
we
them,
go.
children would develop at their own pace and enjoy themselves along the way. Forget your boys and girls involved now. With Go Games, every child gets a
Think there again, just the great man himself, I suppose, who the Gaelic Games family lost last year, Micheál Murray narrating, and he pretty much relayed the words back to us that we would have had in our interaction at the start of the actual session. It's safe, supportive, every child gets a go. That's exactly what Go Games are, and I hope everybody got the feel for it there. And as you could see, the modified goalposts, they weren't playing in the big goalposts in Croke Park. You could see the smaller ball that they were playing with. You could see that it wasn't 15 on 15. It was just everybody just having fun. That's what Go Games are really about. So essentially, the in the chat function, everybody typed what Micheál and Murray Hurtig just gave us through the launch video. So that just shows us that it's a different model of Gaelic games. The small sided, it's developmental rather than the focus on the winning. So, the purpose of the relaunch. So, obviously, the policy was relaunched in 2023. So, what was the actual purpose? So, there was a Go Games in situ, and it was very, very effective for its time and very innovative for its time. But back in 2020, in March of 2020, we sat down as three associations and we really wanted to get into the nub of maybe some issues that were being faced throughout the country. So really what we wanted to do was refocus and make it child-centered, inclusive, and activities for our largest playing cohort. We wanted to reiterate our commitment to developing a fun and learning environment for our under 7 to under 12 members. We want to reimagine playing rules to innovate and enhance the playing experiences and development of all. We'll speak about those innovative playing rules a little bit later on, and realignment with the F2 stage of the Gaelic Games player pathway. So this was kind of happening synchronously with the development of the Gaelic Games player pathway, and the new Go Games policy slotted perfectly into the F2 stage after nursery and F1. So it was really kind of a hand into a custom-made glove experience at the time. So there was that alignment with the Gaelic Games player pathway. So, what are Gaelic Games Go Games? Gaelic Games Go Games refers to a games development pathway that is aligned to the Gaelic Games player pathway in the F2 stage, so Foundation 2. The emphasis during this phase is on further developing functional movement skills and the early acquisition of all the specific skills of Gaelic Games. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. It's the alignment with the F2 player pathway, or sorry, F2 stage player pathway, and the emphasis on, and look at the keywords there, developing, not winning, developing the specific skills of Gaelic Games, along with our functional movement skills as well. So again, how do we define Go Games? So again, direct from the policy, this is the wording. Go Games are modified, small-sided versions of hurling, camogie, Gaelic football, and ladies Gaelic football, which have been devised to cater for the development needs of children aged 7 and up to and including 12 years of age. Go games can be played in a club, school, and or community setting to introduce children to Gaelic games. They allow children to have fun, grow, and learn physically, socially, and psychologically, and develop key attributes for life. Go games are inclusive, structured to cater for the needs, abilities, and backgrounds of all participants. So again, to cater for their needs, not to cater for the winning needs of some adult who's overly excited about thinking that their 10-year-old child or their under 10s are going to win some type of trophy and anybody's going to remember it in 10 years' time. It's developing our players, making sure that this is one of the first steps in a lifelong participation in Gaelic games and that their first experiences are that of developmental, it's inclusive, it's catering for their needs, and they're allowed to develop and grow at their own pace. Again, folks, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat and we'll get back to them at the end. So, what's new? So it's a common policy across all associations. So all associations ratified at their congresses the Go Games policy, an identical policy across 3 associations. Innovative additions to playing rules and numbers. So again, when we were looking at how can we modify our games to make them more developmental and to increase skill executions, to increase fun and enjoyment, we scoured the planet for different versions of small-sided games and what rules we could take and look and introduce them to our own sports that were going to give children that room and that space to grow. So we looked at Auskick, we looked at lacrosse, we looked at soccer, we looked at rugby, we looked at so many field sports and individual sports as well, just to see what we could take in terms of best practice to underpin exactly what we wanted to achieve. So some were maybe idealistic in the setting, so we needed to just be very careful about what we were trying to introduce into a voluntary setting because some of the sports that we looked at were professionals and had full-time professional coaches running them. But we like to think that we took some of the best parts, modified them to fit our sports, and they really increased the enjoyment levels of all of our players. Introduction of the blitz format as standard, so everything must be in a blitz, either 3 clubs or multiple teams from 2 clubs, where everybody gets to play a minimum of 2 games. And we'll talk about that a little bit later on in terms of when you're applying for a game, what that must include. That's from under 7 to under 11, then under 12s are allowed 1v1s. Self-paced education opportunities, so we'll speak about that a little bit later on. Self-paced referee module, again, we'll speak about that later on. Really innovative stuff, so stay tuned. We'll get to those later on. And an activity approval system, which Claude is going to guide you through later on in the session. So again, a cross-associational approach. So Go Games is national policy of the GAA, the Camogie Association and the Ladies Gaelic Football Association and their constituent units at provincial, county, club and educational level responsible for the organisation and delivery of Go Games. So again, as I mentioned, it's across the 3 associations, identical rules. There is no deviation anywhere. We meet with our colleagues from the 2 associations once a month at least to run through any new additions or any innovations that we have to the actual program, and to make sure that there's no deviations across any of our units as well. So we are uniform in delivery of it. So all of our children are all having the exact same playing experience across all Gaelic games. Each unit must be aware of and comply with the provisions of this policy, and all units and members participating in Go Games are bound by the official rules of their association. So, the policy purpose. The purpose of the policy is to deliver a structured, standardized, and unified, which I just spoke about, approach to development of our young players across all 3 associations. We want Go Games to provide children with an appropriate introduction to the competition on a phased basis. So again, this is a gradual dipping of the toe in the water. That would be referencing under 12, dipping the toe in the water of competition. Nothing before that. Again, we spoke about the developmental. The game itself provides sufficient skill development challenge for children. Above all, this policy is in line with the Gaelic Games player pathway and its 6 key underlying principles. Club is core, it's player-centered, quality coaching experiences, it's connective, inclusive, and here's a lovely line, as many as possible for as long as possible. We spoke about that a couple of slides ago. Lifelong participation. This is the positive introduction, where people are given the space to enjoy themselves, the space to grow without pressure of having to win or, having to pick up a trophy at the end of the season. This is just play for play's sake. I think that's what all anybody really wants. So, principles and organization of Go games. So, all participants play in the game, i.e., everyone has a goal, referenced by our activity later on, where everybody typed into the chat. Everyone has a goal. There's nobody standing on sidelines. Make it work with whatever coaches you're working with. Make your numbers fit so that everybody is on the pitch at the same time. Nobody ever improved their skill levels or their enjoyment levels standing on a sideline. Games are small-sided, so again, there are no 15 on 15. Make it as small-sided as possible. Okay, so try and work off the minimum numbers. We'll talk about those a little bit later on. Modified playing rules. So again, we spoke about the playing rules, that they are conducive to skill development, giving more time on the ball, making sure that everybody has that room to execute the skills in a supportive and developmental environment. Participant needs are catered for under 7 to under 12. Under 6 age grade or below is not permitted. That is the nursery stage. That is the F1 stage of the player pathway. Player pathway, again, developed by experts in the field of Gaelic games. The under 6 age grade is not permitted. It's a big question that we've had over the last number of months. That is the nursery program. And again, keep your eye out for the Gaelic Games nursery program, which is going to be launched over the coming weeks and months also, which complements the Go Games program also. But under sixes should remain in the nursery program. That's the appropriate stage of development and the activities appropriate to the stage that they are at. So endeavor, so I spoke about this, the small-sided numbers. So endeavor to play the minimum numbers recommended. So the minimum numbers at under 7 is 4v4. How many touches of ball are they going to get at 4v4? It's going to be constant action, constant go, go, go. So that's what we want from our players. More opportunities to execute skills. So again, one thing I will say though is in the 2 years since the policy was launched, we haven't seen that brave county board to come out and go with the minimum numbers. They all seem to want to go with the maximum, which at under 7 is 77 or under 8 is 8v8. And I'm always thinking to myself, who's going to be the brave ones? Who's going to go with those minimum numbers? Because whoever does that, the players in that county are their skill executions will go through the roof. I always reference one study where there was a particular soccer club and they took their games right down to 5v5 from 11v11, and the players got 75% more skill executions, 75% more touches in a game. Developmental. Participants may play up 2 age grades. So an under 7 may play at their own age grade plus under 8 or under 9 level. Not all three. Okay. So they can play at under 7 and under 8 or under 9. They cannot play at under 7, 8s, and 9s. Okay. So it's 7s plus 8 or in clubs and primary schools up to under 11, no league or championship competitions shall be organised. Okay, so it's only after under 11 when somebody steps under 12 that they are allowed to have leagues. And again, we'll speak about that a little bit later on. No provision is made to publish scores. No scores should be kept or utilised in any way. No provision is made to present trophies, cups, etc. Club and primary school blitzes shall be organised subject to association rule. No provision is made for the organisation of club or primary school Go Games blitzes with formats that include knockout games, i.e. semi-finals, finals, etc. It's fairly self-explanatory. General guidelines. Children at 7 years of age or younger still are in the process of developing the fundamental skills required to support early acquisition of the skills of Gaelic games. It is therefore recommended that children aged 7 and younger are introduced slowly to Gaelic games. And again, this goes back to the previous slide, with their continued participation in the club nursery preferred. So the F1 stage. They're still in the F1 stage. Don't be parachuting them into F2 just because you think that they should. keep it appropriate to them. Go Games explicitly commences at under 7 age grade, with participants permitted to play at 2-year cohorts. Children whose sixth birthday is on or after January 1st can play at the under 7 age grade in that calendar year only. They cannot step up to under 8. Under 7 is the highest age grade that somebody whose sixth birthday is on or after January 1st can play. So the under 12 age grade, we've dedicated some slides specifically to this because this is the one that we get most questions about, okay? Because there is a slight deviation from the rest of Go Games, which is fine. We spoke about that graduated approach to introducing competition. Under 12 is it, okay? Only children whose 10th, 11th, or 12th birthday is on or after January 1st can play at the under 12 age grade in that calendar year. So they must be turning 10, 11, or 12 in that year to be eligible to play under 12. So anybody of 9 years of age cannot play under 12s. Under 12 age grade is organised on a league and blitz basis. No knockout rounds are permitted as part of the under 12 league programme. The under 12 league must be organised by the county board. There's no other under 12 leagues permitted. It must be the county board organised league. We did have a query when we first launched the policy about, certain counties running their own, or certain clubs starting a league with other clubs. That is not permitted. So at the under 12 age grade, the only leagues permitted are the county run leagues. Go Games should not be used for grading for any older age grades. Plenty of time for that under 13 up. 1v1 games are permitted at this age grade only. So as you will know, remember, I referenced under 7 to under 11, where everything must be in a blitz format. Under 12 is the slight deviation from this, where you can have 1v1 games. This is the only age grade in Go Games where this is permitted. Okay. So, events definitions. So again, hopefully this is going to give a bit of information around what are the definitions of certain events. So a blitz or a festival must include a minimum of 3 clubs or multiple teams from 2 clubs. That's fairly straightforward. A blitz is defined as an event containing no less than 4 teams, with each team playing multiple games with a minimum of 3 games per team at an event. There are no knockout rounds, for example, semi-finals or finals in any type of Go Games. That includes the under 12 county run leagues. There are no cups or trophies to be presented to any teams playing Go Games under 7 to under 11, including tournaments or commemorative events. Okay, so tournaments and commemorative events are not tournaments are not permitted. Commemorative events are, but we'll speak about that a little bit later on. Where prizes, for example, medals or certificates are being given out, every child participating should receive the same. Okay? So, a sample club blitz. What can this look like? So, as you can see there, this is a fairly straightforward format. We've got 4 single team clubs who are coming together. There's the fixtures on your right hand side. So, we have club 1 at the top, club 2, club 3, club 4. They literally all play each other. Okay, so you see club 1 in their first game will play club 2, in their second game will play club 3, and their last game will play club 4, and so on. Every club is the exact same. So everybody gets to play everybody gets a varied playing experience, and everybody goes home happy. Okay, they're not just playing the same team over and over again, and they're not playing a one-on-one in what I would class as a mini version of an adult's game. So at least 4 teams there, minimum of 3 clubs or multiple teams from 2 clubs. Here we have a different scenario. Okay, so we've got club team 1, club team 2, club team 3, and club 1 has 2 teams. Okay, and club 2 has 1 team, and club 3 has 1 team. So how do we get around this? Surely club 1 with 2 teams, would they play each other? Of course they would. Okay, sorry, jumping ahead. So, Club 1, Team 1 plays against Club 1, Team 2. That's the first fixture. What fun that is for the kids to get to play against each other. Put bibs on, okay, so we're separated now. You're going to play against each other. Then you have Club 2 with Team 1, Club 3 with Team 1. They're going to play each other. And then everybody just plays each other going forward for the rest of the event. You can play against your own club. It's because the kids are going out just to enjoy themselves. Of course, they might, the kids themselves might have a little bit of competition and, a little bit of friendly competition among themselves. But what fun that is, okay? It doesn't have to always be an us versus them scenario. So if you're inviting two single team clubs in, and you've got two teams, of course that can work. Everybody just plays against each other. That's the whole premise of it. It's children playing on a pitch with a ball. Okay. So make sure that you're not limiting yourself by saying, oh, we've two teams. We can't play against those one team clubs. Of course you can. Just invite two of them. It's a very, very simple concept. Memorial events. So I did speak about this commemorative or memorial event. So can blitzes be organized as memorial events, for example? Yes, they can, and they absolutely should be, but not with a cup or trophy being presented. So there's no final. So it can be just a fun blitz where everybody plays against everybody. This can be the Mary McDonald Memorial Festival of Football, for example, rather than the Mary McDonald Tournament. So look, up until now, some clubs might have been running the Mary McDonald Cup. And again, I'll go down to the last point here. I'll jump straight onto it. If you think about this, will more people remember Mary if one child takes home a cup, or if every child at the festival has a medal or a certificate, for example, with Mary's name on it? I think that's far more powerful than one child going home with a cup and every other child going home, maybe with a bad experience, well, we didn't win that, or that was fixed so the home team would win it, or whatever. I think Mary, obviously Mary's a hypothetical, but Mary's memory will be far better served with 200 kids going home with a medal around their neck with her name on it. And they'll forevermore remember that positive playing experience that they had. So that's a question that we get a lot around memorial events. So the playing rules. So look, I won't spend too much time on these, but if you look through the policy itself and the coaches' resources, that's up on ladiesgaelic.ie, and if you click learn, and then you'll find Go Games in there. Have a look at the evolution of the rules and the evolution of the pitch size, the evolution of the duration of the games, how the restarts evolve through as well. So again, these are the rules that encompass both big ball and small ball. So under sevens for camogie and hurling, the duration is the exact same as it is and same with the playing rule, or same with the team sizes, same with substitution. So again, although we have unlimited there, only equal playing time for all, you should really be trying to get everybody on the pitch. So again, have a look through the rules yourself. I won't spend a massive amount of time. We have done a couple of webinars previously on this, so make sure to check those out on the LGFA's YouTube channel as well if you want a more in-depth synopsis of these. But there is you'll see if I click on the next slide there, look, pitch size is a little bit bigger, um, the duration is a little bit longer. So as they go up and look at the team sizes, we've now gone from 4v4 and 7v7 to 5v5 and 8v8. Okay, so there's a gradual moving, I suppose, towards something that more resembles ladies Gaelic football in its I suppose it's more teenage and adult form. So it's more of an evolution of rules as we go from under 7 up to under 12. So under 10 there, as you will see there, again, the pitches get bigger, the playing time is longer, the playing numbers are greater. So again, look, and you can check out the playing rules in a more forensic way yourself, if you get time, and you'll see, look, we go up to under 12 there, and you will see, like, I mean, you've gone then from under sevens where you can use poles for goals to there has to be portable goals then under 12. Your pitch size is a lot bigger, as I said, 20-minute blocks up to 60 minutes. So the rules evolve, the playing numbers evolve as we go up through the age grades, and it moves more towards the under 13 excuse me, full-sided playing model. Under 12 leagues. Okay, so what can it look like? So again, we get to ask this question all the time. Because there are county ran leagues, what could they be? So here's an example on the screen for you here. So again, we've no scores published. So for your win, you have your W, your draw, your D, and your loss, L. So no scores published whatsoever. I'm sure we've all looked at our Twitter or X accounts or whatever on a Saturday evening, and you've seen Moat 6-13, Whitehall 4 points. And you've gone, why does this need to be published online? Who thought this was a good idea? Um, Kids are seeing that as well. And their parents are seeing it, their coaches are seeing it. It's only going to be a negative. So if there is an under 12 league, it must operate off the WDL format: win, loss, draw, nothing else. Okay. As you can see there, fixtures on your left, team one versus team two, three, four, five, and six, and that carries down all the way. So a 5 week league. Um, and then your table at the end of it. So team four have played five, they've won five, they lost none, they drew none, they end up on 15 points. Okay. Team two, they played five, they won four, lost one, drew none. They end up and so on and so forth. But what happens here then is that you can also have a finals festival day where the top two, which will be team four and team two, they could play each other in a league final. Similarly, the next two, team six and team three, they could play each other in a league final. And then similarly, team five and team one, they could also play each other in a league final. So it's a festival finals day, and I always look at this through the participatory sphere. What's going to be better for the development of our players across our county and across our country if only, whatever, 24 players get to play in a final where it's first v second, or if we want to develop all of our players, give everybody a chance to participate. Let's have a finals festival day across the whole county. Let's everybody play in a final. The girls don't care. They don't like, doesn't bother them whether they're playing in a fifth v six final or a first v second final. It's a final. They're there to play. They're there to enjoy themselves. They're there to develop their skills. So that's the ideal model of really what we want to go after with our under 12 leagues. So Blitz event application. So as we mentioned earlier on, this is where our applications come to ourselves for everything that's outside the county games program. So at under sevens, eights, nines, tens, elevens, there's going to be a specific Go Games county program that's sent out to all clubs by your county board. Anything that's outside of that, okay, so it must not be clashing with that. Anything that's outside of those scheduled games must be in a blitz, and it must be applied for through the application form. Okay, so the host club, so you'll see the process in front of you. The host club submits the application. It's then reviewed by the national development team. Approval or rejection is then sent to automatically is now sent to the host club, and is also sent to the county board to notify them that an event is taking place. They must be aware, because we might not have a knowledge that there's a county run event going on. If we grant approval for it, that means that event is then in direct competition with that county run event. So the county board will then highlight to us that there is going to be a clash of events and that their one should always take precedence. And then notification to listed clubs participating. So as the host club, you're the one applying. You're the one that gets the notification of approval, but you must share that approval with the visiting clubs to have clarity and transparency, so everybody is aware that that event has been applied for and it has also been approved. Okay, so there's clarity there. So if somebody goes to an unsanctioned event, the very, very simple functionality of that is that somebody says, can you please show me the event approval? They should be able to show you that. Okay. So I've done a lot of talking. Clodagh is going to take over. Um, and take you through the next few enhancements to the program. We've really, a rolling stone gathers no moss. Ourselves and the Camogie Association, the GAA, as I said, get together a number of times in the year and we're always looking to innovate, and we're always looking to improve the Go Games program. So there's been a number of enhancements this year, and we'll continue to enhance the program for both the playing experience and for the coaches and administrators and clubs. So there's been a few enhancements this year. So I'm going to let Clodagh guide you through all those, and I'm going to sit back and enjoy her taking us through them.
Thanks a million, Vinny. And I suppose, as Vinny said way back at the start of this session, if anyone was involved in Go Games last year, you're probably well aware of who myself and Vinny are. If you're not, you will probably know us very well and have heard of a lot from us by the end of this summer, mostly through this activity approval system. So as Vinny said, all activity outside of the Go Games program must come through this form. The Go Games program is not like you're under 14 or your minor or your adult team in the club where the secretary applies to your county board or to your provincial board or to the national board for challenges or any events that you wish to run. So all Go Games activity comes through this one form. It must be accessed via a Gaelic Games account. So in the case of ladies Gaelic football, it's going to be your club secretary, or if your chairperson has access to the club's email account, that's the only way you will get access. So already this week, we've had a few clubs come to us where they're struggling to get onto it. You cannot access the form unless you're logged into a Gaelic Games account. If you're coming from the GA side, your secretary will have access. Same with Camogie, and as I said, for ladies Gaelic, your club secretary will have the access here. When you come onto this form, it's really, really important you select ladies Gaelic football. If you are a one club model, if your boys are part of the same system, if your Camogie board is also part of the one club, that's fine. But if this is a ladies football event, you must select ladies Gaelic football. So we get numerous queries of clubs that haven't heard back from us, but here they've selected either Camogie or Gaelic football, and that's why it hasn't come to us. So really, really important you're selecting ladies Gaelic football to start with. The next one is where the teams are located. So this will either be inside your county or outside your county. And then you're selecting the host secretary at the county that you're hosting. So for example, if you're a club in Wicklow and you're playing a club in Wicklow, your host secretary, county secretary is going to be the Wicklow county secretary here. If you're accessing this from a club perspective, you will get an automated response to this. If you receive this as a county secretary, your role here is to ensure everything's in line. If it's not, you can contact myself or Vinny. Or if the event is hosting teams outside the county, it's your responsibility to share this with the host county. For example, again, if you're the Wicklow County Secretary and there's a club going to be playing from Dublin, it's your responsibility to share this with the Dublin County Secretary also. On the right-hand side, you will see here, extra information we do require. And as Vinny said, this form is enhanced from last year. This was a lot longer. It did require a lot more details. We've reviewed ourselves as myself and Vinny. I'm from Ladies Gaelic Football. We've liaised with our colleagues across Gaelic Games, and we've had feedback from different clubs, different counties, and people in general who have used this form quite a lot last year. So if you are familiar with the old form, you will find this is a lot easier. A lot less details is required, but it still is important that you fill it out with the most details you have. So the event details, you'll give the date that it's taken place, what venue this will take place in, and then listing all clubs and the number of teams is really important here. So as you can see, this example we've created lacks a lot of information. So the venue fine is Whitehall, but the list of clubs, so Moat, what we'll be asking here is what county is Moat from? If it's outside if you've selected outside the county, we'll need to know what club Moat is in and the number of teams that Moat is bringing to this event. If you select under sevens and you've just wrote Moat and Whitehall, we will assume this is a 1v1 game and this will be rejected. So, as Vinny has alluded to numerous times, 1v1 games are only permitted at under 12. So, up here is really important at question 6 that you're letting us know how many teams from each club is attending. Again, the minimum number of games, and you'll see when on this drop down, you cannot select one as the minimum game if it's under 7 to under 11, okay? And then, of course, the event structure, a blitz format has to be for under 7 to 11. 1v1 games will only be permitted at under 12. So the example you can see on the right, if myself and Vinny were to receive this in the morning, will be rejected. So we can't stress enough how important it is to include as much details as possible. And the number of teams that's attending is one of probably the biggest reason that we reject applications on a daily basis coming into us. So, coming from the activity approval form, and as Vinny would have alluded to earlier, games that take place or blitzes that take place outside of the activity approval form will be under breaches of the Go Games policy. So the Go Games program falls under Rule 278 of the official guide. If your club is in breach of this, it will be referred to CODA for sanction. And I know, Vinny, we did have a couple of clubs and counties last year that will be aware of this happening. It's really, really important. And as well as a visiting club, don't assume that the club that has invited you to come to play has everything in order, okay? They must share the approval with you. So if you hear from myself and Vinny that you've played a game or a blitz outside of the policy, and you haven't got the approval, then you are liable as well. So it's really important that you tick all the boxes on your own club side as well. So, on to some of our educational pieces, and I know we've done numerous studies around the whole Go Games program, and one huge piece that came from this is educating coaches, club members, parents, county board members, anyone who's dealing with kids that are in the Go Games age category. It's really important that they're educated as to why Go Games has taken place, why the policy was created for the way that it is. We'll get to later in this webinar as more resources we've created to help educate everyone that's involved with this group of players. And the first one we have here is our Go Games workshop. This can be found on Tubber, which is the Gaelic Games learning site. Anyone who doesn't have a Tubber account, if you take anything from this evening, it's to get yourself registered on there. There's the world of resources as a coach, as a parent, as a player. Really, really, really useful resource. And on here is our Go Games workshop. This could self-led. You can do it over a few evenings. It takes max an hour in total, and it gives you the understanding as to what Go Games are, why we play them this way, how you to organize Go Games events. As Vinny would have showed earlier in the slides, the breakdown at each age grade. Again, this is educating yourself. We would meet with different coaches, different parents. Some are in agreement with Go Games. Some feel Go Games should be run differently. When they take this workshop, when they use the educational side as to why we have created this Go Games policy, it is a lot easier to understand. It's a lot easier to coach players when you know why you're doing it. So again, with this webinar, with previous webinars, as Vinny said, we've created, this workshop is also here to educate yourselves. And again, any issues with logging on to Tubber or finding this workshop, don't be afraid to contact either myself or Vinny. As Vinny said, it's all on the Ladies Gaelic website as well. Another resource which was only launched in previous months is our Go Games online referee course. I suppose now that we're promoting smaller sided games and everything in a blitz format, we've now gone from what could be a 1v1 game 2 years ago, could be now 6 games over one full size pitch. And a big question we would have got is, where do we get referees for this, and who's going to referee these games? And we have a shortage of referees. So our Go Games referee course was created. Again, like the workshop, this is all on Tubber. It's self-led. You can do it at your own pace. It's done in the comfort of your own home. You are a qualified Go Games referee at the end of this. You can referee all Go Games events that are non-competitive. If there is county-led leagues that are taking scores, as Vinny alluded to earlier, on the league basis, which result in a win, loss, or draw, you cannot referee those games, but all the non-competitive Go Games can be refereed using this course. Again, really, really useful resource. I know Vinny'd have more accurate numbers, but in the last 6 months or so, we're up over a couple of hundred more referees across the country. Really, really useful.
Yeah,
It,
I'll jump in on that
yeah,
one. So we launched it this time last year, and across Gaelic games, we're well over 8,000 new Go Games referees in a year. Quite remarkable. Um, so yeah, it's for anybody who's 15 years and up. Um, it allows somebody to get involved in refereeing on their first step on the refereeing pathway in their club from 15. But yeah, 8,000 across Gaelic games. Um, it's just huge. So make sure that if you do want to get on, check that out, that you do, or if you know somebody who's over 15, get them on their first step on the journey in refereeing.
yeah, thanks, Vinny. So he said hugely, hugely, hugely beneficial for clubs. You may be a parent that doesn't have the time to help with coaching, doesn't have time to get involved with the club. Maybe this could be for you. Takes an hour. You have to give up your Saturday mornings to help referee with the club. But again, really, really, really beneficial. I would say the numbers of emails and calls we've had asking about referees has reduced dramatically since this was launched. Very, very, very easy to use. Very, very interactive, as Vinny said, from 15-year-olds up. It's not difficult. There's no, there's nothing going to catch you out rules wise. Even as a coach, if you might not be interested in refereeing, again, really beneficial to take this course. It gives you the side of the referees' views of the whole Go Games module. So again, really beneficial. So moving on to the County Go Games program, and I know some people online may be parents, they may be coaches, you may be here from the county board and figuring out how, as a county board, do we run this? We have 20 clubs. Clubs could have 40 kids at under 10, for example. How do we cater for this in a blitz style format? How do we cater for this? Pitch sizes. If you could be coming from a county that's, for example, Donegal or Cork, Kerry geographically is really large. How do we make this interactive for kids that they're not traveling 2 hours on a Saturday morning to play against a club the opposite end of the county? So again, this is unique to each county. We're not going to tell you what way you should run your county Go Games program. However, we have come up with a different selection of variations that could sit nicely for yourself. I know last year myself and Vinny would have met with different county boards who asked for assistance. And again, there's no one size fits all here. What's brilliant in one county might not work at all in another county. So as you will see here, these are 4 variations we have seen work very well in counties. The first one here, the all in. So every club plays everyone. And as I said already, about geographically, this club suits smaller size counties quite well with little travel time, um, where every club gets to play everyone over a set amount of weeks. You could play every second week, every third week, or every week. Our second one is the hub format, where teams are grouped together and they play the same teams for a set period of time before being allocated a new hub. Again, we've seen this model work very, very well in a particular county. Um, this has been set up, and I would imagine will run every year going forward for as long as probably myself and Vinny will be involved in this association. It works perfectly. It was put together by a group of people that the hard work is done now each year. They have a format set up and clubs just slot in there. So on that one, clubs are in their own hub. They'll play all the clubs in that hub. And then every couple of weeks, the hubs change. They're allocated new teams and they'll play them each week then. Uh, our third one is the regional format. So here we split counties into regions. And again, as I said, like with the all-in suits smaller size counties, this might suit the larger size counties a little better, where the counties split into different regions and you'll play all clubs in your region geographically. Again, it cuts out that travel time. Parents and players don't want to be spending 2 hours on a Saturday morning traveling to play. All they want to do is play games. They don't care who they play against. All they want is more and more football, more and more hurling, camogie, whichever code they're coming from. And then the last one is our number of teams format. So we would find in some counties, say for example, you could have 40 kids at under 7, okay? So you're not going to bring one team of 40 to play an under 7 blitz. So here you'll split your age grade and clubs into number of teams, and they could be all paired together. For example, if one club has 3 teams, they will go into a group with all clubs that have 3 teams at that particular age level. 4 teams, 5 teams, 2 teams, and then all your 1 team clubs will go in together. Again, this is just a snippet of what your county Go Games program could look like. We've put this together to help educate, to help county boards out of it is a simple task when it's put together, but it can seem like a huge job. It can seem daunting when you have all these teams, all these players, and they all have to play small-sided games. The 1v1 games are gone. So it's sitting as a county board trying to figure out which format here suits our county best.
So, Claudia, the next couple of slides, I'll just jump in,
Perfect.
because we just wanted to give you a visual of what they could look like, and don't be afraid if you're not involved, with your county board. Don't be afraid to highlight to them that these options are available to them. Maybe you're somebody who's involved in Go Games, and you feel, this. I don't think this format's really working for our club or the club down the road, or just get in contact with them and just say, look, there are formats there. It was on a webinar, and I've seen different formats of how it could work. Maybe the hub format suits our county a little bit better, and highlight that this document has been sent to all county boards, but they might not see it as beneficial for their own county until somebody actually involved in Go Games within the county highlights it to them. So I'll just show you a couple of slides for each format and what they could look like. So this is the all-in format. So as you can see there, you have your under 8s and under 10s blitz. Up the top there, so you see your host club in blue, so everybody gets a chance to host, and the host club arranges the referees and the pitches and link with visiting teams. Go Games runs every second week where applicable, if there are codes in every first week or whatever. As you can see, everybody visits everybody plays everybody, and there's a full Go Games program there. You can see the calendar on the right hand side. Then you have your hub format. So again, place them in hubs. So teams in each hub to change each month. So this model is has more playing opportunities as only 1 week break in the month. and four clubs to play each other each weekend as per the Go Games rules. Field as many teams as possible and rotate, and then host clubs to contact visiting clubs with the details. So regional format, as you can see there, again, it's kind of a hub format, but it's more. It's more geographically based, and then you have your number of teams format, which would be um, as Claudia said, it would depend on the number of players. If two clubs or a number of clubs have similar playing numbers, that they would be grouped to maybe a four team or three team or two team grouping. And then those teams who just have one team each, why not put all them together in a blitz format so everybody's playing everybody and everybody gets the chance to play everybody. So again, um, all of these formats have been sent to each county board around the country, and again, it's to assist them. It's not to throw any variables in anybody. It's to assist everybody in constructing a comprehensive playing program for our largest cohort of players. That's essentially what we want to do. So, I'll jump out, Claudia, if you want to jump back in.
Thanks a million, Vinny. And as I said, working hugely here on educational pieces, trying to help parents, coaches, clubs, counties. Um, we didn't just come up with this program, launch it, and then go silent and not be there to assist. So we're constantly working on how do we help, what can we develop that will be of assistance that will make this more easier to understand, easier to operate in your clubs, county boards, and which is where this FAQ document has come from. So, along with ourselves, the Camogie Association and the GA, and I suppose huge thanks here has to go to our colleague Shauna in the Camogie Association who put huge work into this. And we've compiled a list of questions that we've most received over the past year. And this is all here together in this one document. This is going to be hugely, hugely beneficial. The Go Games policy is quite long, it is quite worded. So this document here is a no-brainer for coaches to have on their phone, on their tablets, laptops. If you are unsure of something, have a flick through this. The chances are it will be answered. Um, as I said, huge work went into this. I think this document was passed back, I'd say easily 100 times by before it was finalized. But again, all questions, even some questions I've seen come through the chat this evening, again, are answered here. Hugely, hugely, hugely beneficial. The link to the activity approval form is there. The breakdown of the under 12 leagues, which I know that does come up every year, with people asking questions. All we think is answered anyways here. We could be adding to this by this time next year, but huge amount of work, numerous questions. We've kept the answers as short and concise as we could. So again, this can be found on our on the Ladies Gaelic website. It has been emailed out to all county boards. Hopefully it will be emailed to all counties or all clubs and counties. But again, if you're unsure of something, have a look for this document. The more you can go through this, the more up to speed with Go Games you will be. The more you understand, then the more your players are going to get from taking part in Gaelic games at this age grade.
I think, Claude, I think you hit the nail on the head there. Um, there, I mean, from our own perspectives, there's myself and yourself who are entrusted with Go Games from the ladies' perspective, and then obviously of Shauna and James and Camogie and Kieran and Seamus from the GA. And what we had to do was basically sit down and go through literally every single question that we've got been asked since the launch of the policy. Having said that, this is going to be added to all the time because more questions arise, and it's our role to give that information to people and to make sure that they're equipped to be able to enjoy Go games in their own club and county setting also. So it is quite comprehensive, as Claudia said. It's available to download from ladiesgaelic.ie, and if you go to Ladies Gaelic and you find the Learn, and then you'll find the Go Games dedicated page there with a couple of videos embedded also, and a couple of our previous webinars. Um, and it is quite comprehensive, but you will hopefully find what you're looking for in there. And if you don't find what, then you just get in contact with Claude or myself. So again, this is about education. This is not about throwing words at people or anybody trying to catch anybody about. This is about trying to ensure that everybody has an understanding that this is a child-centered developmental program. Um, Aimed at developing our kids, making sure that they have fun, making sure it's child-centered, that they're learning through play, and that their first foray into Gaelic games is one of enjoyment and of positivity. And look, there's plenty of time for winning and plenty of time for trophies and memorial cups and all the rest later on. But this is a participatory program, and we wanted to make sure that with an FAQ document like this, that everybody was empowered to be able to understand different aspects of the program. So hugely valuable. Make sure you do go on and check it out. Just in terms of some of the questions that come in, Claude, I've seen you have been busy in the chat, but responding to everybody, I think you've got around to all the queries that come in. If you've got any other questions, just pop them in there as well. But also, what was your one or OIC moment from this webinar? Um, was there something that you went, oh, I didn't really know that about Go games, or I didn't really understand that about Go games, or that's an aspect of Go games that I can take back, or that's something that I want to investigate further. Um, so just pop it in the chat there, and it'll inform us as well going forward for any more webinars that we want to run ourselves. So excuse me, I'm still getting over the flu. So yeah, pop it in the chat there. Any or OIC moments from this webinar. Give you a couple of seconds on that. Just in terms of a couple of the questions that did come in, how many fixtures are under 12s expected to have? And if they're county board organised blitzes, does a form need to be filled in? So no, if anything that's run by the county board is administered by the county board. That's up to themselves. And how many fixtures under 12s expected to have? That's up to your county board. Each county board, they usually submit us a copy of their games program for the year, and they're hugely comprehensive programs. There, some counties, when we when we look at our figures at the end of the year, there's been very little applications for activities from some of their clubs, and the reason for that is because the county board program is so comprehensive that we're not getting any activity approval applications because they're getting that from the county board without having to organise their own events. And then some county boards will be a little bit more sporadic in what they do. So it'll be left to the clubs then to organise their own festivals and blitzes in between. And that's okay as well, just so long as they are applied for. Um, so yeah. Okay. So we have just gone over the hour mark. So thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time to tune in this evening. I'd like to thank my colleague Clodagh for offering huge insights into the innovations and the enhancements to the programs, and we'll continue to enhance and try and give as much information to people who are coaching the game, people who are administering the game, and to people who are involved in Go games, but also giving it as much information to benefit the players who are actually taking part. They're the people who are at the center of this program. So we'd like to thank you for taking the time to tune in. And there are further webinars available on our YouTube channel. There's more more Go Games webinars available also there. And again, check out the policy if needs be. I'm going to hang on for another couple of minutes after we finish recording. So if anybody does have any further questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat, and I will hang around. But thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. Thank you, Clodagh, and if you need any further advice, just email vincent.whelan@ljfa.ie or clodagh.flanagan@ljfa.ie. So, long live.